Do you think that should be a signal to your government to dial back the deficit spending the government has rolled out and is still proposing?
Well, I think the Bank of Canada is responsible for monetary policy, but I also think that we need to remind ourselves that we are still very much in the pandemic. I mean, I just took a walk down my main street, as I do every day, talking to restaurant owners, talking to businesses, and there are many lockdown measures still in effect in many provinces. Here in Quebec, our cafes, bars, and restaurants are closed, and many workers are still taking home $0. So I'm happy to talk about inflation. I'm happy to attack what we are seeing as a global problem in affecting countries around the world. But we also need to make sure that people are taking home a salary. Talking to a woman who cleans hotel rooms who's not bringing home a single dollar these days means that our government does need to continue to have their backs. It does need to continue to provide those wage supports, provide the supports for workers who are sick and need to stay home from work. I think that the most important economic policy is a strong health policy.
The PBO also, in its report released this week, says that the rationale for more stimulus spending does not exist based on your own government's benchmarks around employment numbers specifically. So why keep spending? And if you do, is that not going to add to the inflation problem?
Well, I believe the PBO wrote that report at the beginning of December, and the world has changed in 100 different ways since then. We are now in the middle of the Omicron wave. We're doing quite well, if you will recall, in November and in December, many provinces shut down many parts of their economies. We are still in that phase. And so I think we need to be mindful of the fact that Canadians need our support. The reality is that cities and provinces are not able to provide that support, and that leaves us. And I think as the federal government, we are expected to have Canadians' backs, and I will not apologize for spending in order to make sure that Canadians can pay their rent and put food on their table.